The shipping mafia. The one cartel. America is too scared to touch. You are surrounded by objects that traveled farther than most people ever will. The phone in your hand, the clothes you wear, the food on your table, nearly everything that defines modern life crossed an ocean before it reached you, not once, but often multiple times, and almost all of it passed through the same narrow system, controlled by a small group of companies that most people have never heard of. This is not a story about pirates or smugglers. It is a story about something far more powerful. A legalized cartel hiding in plain sight. A system so entrenched that even the United States government hesitates to confront it. This is the shipping industry. Global trade depends on container shipping. Around 90% of all goods traded worldwide move by sea. That makes shipping not just another industry, but the circulatory system of the global economy. When it flows smoothly, shelves are full and prices feel stable. When it tightens, inflation spikes and shortages appear almost overnight. For decades, shipping was portrayed as brutally competitive, low margins, ruthless efficiency, companies fighting for pennies per container. That image is no longer accurate. In reality, global shipping has quietly consolidated into one of the most concentrated industries on Earth. A handful of mega carriers now control most of the world's container capacity. These companies do not just compete, they cooperate. They share vessels, they coordinate routes, they align schedules, and in many cases, they jointly manage capacity. In almost any other industry, this would trigger immediate antitrust action. But shipping is different. Shipping operates under a special legal regime that allows practices explicitly banned elsewhere. In the United States, ocean carriers are exempt from key antitrust laws. They are allowed to form alliances. They are allowed to coordinate pricing behavior indirectly. They are allowed to manage supply collectively. This exemption was originally justified as a way to stabilize trade. Shipping was considered too volatile, too capital-intensive, too essential to be left fully to market forces. Over time, that protection became a shield, and behind that shield, a cartel took shape. To understand the power of this system, you have to understand containers. The standardized shipping container was one of the most important inventions of the modern era. It reduced costs, increased speed, and allowed global supply chains to stretch across continents. But container shipping also requires massive upfront investment. Ships cost billions of dollars. Ports require constant expansion. Logistics networks demand scale. Smaller players were slowly pushed out. Mergers followed, bankruptcies followed, survivors grew larger. Eventually, competition thinned. Today, a small group of carriers dominates the oceans. They operate through alliances that effectively divide the world into shared corridors. On paper, these companies remain independent. In practice, they move together. When demand falls, capacity is withdrawn. Ships are idled, routes are suspended, prices are protected. When demand surges, capacity returns slowly. Bottlenecks appear, rates explode. This is not accidental, it is managed. During recent global disruptions, shipping rates increased by multiples, not percentages. Multiples. The cost to move a container rose several times over. Shipping companies reported record profits. Profits so large they exceeded the combined earnings of the entire industry over many previous decades. This happened while manufacturers struggled, while retailers absorbed losses, and while consumers paid higher prices for basic goods. The system worked exactly as designed. Shipping executives did not hide this. Many openly acknowledged that discipline had finally arrived in the industry. Discipline is the word cartels use when they stop competing. So why does the United States tolerate this? The answer lies in dependency. The United States is no longer a shipping power in the way it once was. Its domestic fleet has shrunk dramatically. Its shipbuilding capacity is limited. Its ports rely heavily on foreign carriers. Confronting the shipping cartel would mean confronting the backbone of American imports, and that is a risk policymakers are reluctant to take. Aggressive antitrust enforcement could provoke retaliation. Capacity could be redirected. Routes could be deprioritized. Delays could ripple through the economy. Inflation could rise further. Supply chains could fracture. The threat does not need to be spoken. It is implicit. Shipping companies understand this leverage. They operate globally. They are based in multiple jurisdictions. They answer to no single government. Their importance gives them insulation. This creates a strange imbalance. The industry that physically moves global trade faces less scrutiny than industries that merely facilitate it digitally. Tech companies are regulated, banks are stress-tested, energy firms face political pressure, shipping operates quietly, protected by legal exemptions and geopolitical caution. Even when lawmakers raise concerns, action stalls. Investigations produce reports, hearings produce statements. Structural change rarely follows. Breaking the cartel would mean risking disruption in the short term. Modern systems prioritize continuity over reform. Please subscribe to our channel. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers this week. The shipping cartel does not need to set prices directly. It controls something more powerful: capacity. By deciding how many ships sail, how fast they move, and which routes receive priority, the industry controls scarcity. Scarcity determines price. This allows carriers to claim market forces while shaping outcomes. It is a form of power that leaves few fingerprints. For consumers, the effects are indirect but real. Higher shipping costs feed into higher retail prices. Delays reduce availability. Inventories shrink. Inflation feels abstract, but its roots often lie offshore. For smaller economies, the impact is even harsher. Developing countries depend heavily on maritime trade. When shipping costs rise, entire export sectors become unviable. Trade becomes a privilege of scale. This reinforces global inequality. Yet the cartel remains largely invisible in public discourse. There are no villains in headlines, no dramatic collapses, just smooth vessels crossing the horizon. This invisibility is its greatest strength. Shipping is physical, slow, and complex. It resists viral outrage. It lacks a user interface. Its decisions are made in boardrooms far from public view. And so the system persists. The irony is that shipping presents itself as neutral infrastructure, just moving boxes, just responding to demand. But infrastructure is never neutral. Whoever controls flow controls outcomes. In earlier eras, control of trade routes defined empires. Today, control of container capacity defines leverage. The United States understands this historically. It once invested heavily in maritime power. It protected its fleet. It viewed shipping as strategic. That perspective faded as globalization deepened. Efficiency replaced sovereignty. Cost replaced control. Now, reversing course would be expensive. Building ships takes years. Training crews takes time. Restructuring ports requires capital. And during that transition, dependence would remain. So caution prevails. This is why the shipping cartel remains largely untouched, not because it is invisible, but because it is essential, not because it is legal, but because confronting it would force uncomfortable trade-offs. The result is a system where a few corporations quietly shape global trade flows, insulated by complexity and necessity. They do not need to threaten governments. Their position speaks for itself. As long as the world depends on long-distance trade, and as long as shipping remains concentrated, this power will persist. It does not require conspiracy, it requires structure. Understanding this matters because it reframes how you see shortages, inflation, and global instability. Many of these pressures do not originate in policy debates or currency markets. They originate in physical choke points controlled by private actors. The shipping cartel is not an accident of capitalism. It is a feature of how modern trade is organized, and like all cartels, it thrives when scrutiny fades. This does not mean the system will collapse. It means it will continue to function on terms set by those who control capacity. Smooth when convenient, constrained when profitable. The ocean looks open, but the routes are tightly managed. The containers keep moving, but the rules are written by a few. And until that changes, the shipping cartel will remain one of the most powerful forces in the global economy. Untouched, unchallenged, and quietly decisive. Please subscribe to our channel. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers this week.